I just wanted to talk hockey. Hockey is relevant right now.
Okay.
Specific to New Orleans. The idea of a NHL team coming to New Orleans has been brought up as a possibility. I don't know if anybody actually thinks it's going to happen. But we have like 3 different levels of like connection to hockey here. So I feel like we could get some interesting conversations here. So what are your thoughts on the possibility of hockey coming to New Orleans?
I don't think it's possible. I'm just going to put a big stink on it right there. I feel bad saying that. I don't think New Orleans needs any other professional sports team. The population is shrinking, and unless they come in and win, they're going to fail.
So the NHL expansion, though,
is
built for teams to be good right away.
Yeah.
Like Vegas is like that's a flash in the pan thing, going to a Stanley Cup in the first year. But the Seattle team made the playoffs, I think, each of the first 2 years. And I think the only way it can be successful is if you get a new team, and if they do that right away, people are going to buy in.
Yeah. I wonder. I am really curious to know what the market's like here for that. I mean, I know like it's like the same size as like an NBA arena, so it's not terrible. But I'm curious as to like how many hockey fans actually live in Louisiana or actually are in the metro area.
Well, when we lived in Lafayette, they had the Ice Gators at the time. And it was kind of like a minor league hockey team, and they did pretty decent. But then, like all I feel like minor league teams, they just eventually phased out and then weren't a thing. Supposedly they were trying to come back, but I thought there was something last year that Baton Rouge was,
and apparently it did well. The
Zydeco.
They said the Zydeco did well, and then that led to the Moccasins, which is the guy that mentioned the NHL team in New Orleans. Like he wants to be the one to do it, but and then they tested it in Mississippi, in Gulfport, and that did really well, which is why Baton Rouge got the team. So it's like in this area, it's starting to grow a little bit. There's actually, I went play a couple times at the Wharf.
You went played?
Yeah, I did. I went play like roller hockey, and these dudes were legit, and they're actually a like lower level team now. Like they became a lower level team.
There's like roller hockey leagues.
Well, now that they do ice hockey.
Oh,
now.
okay.
But it's like it seems like it's growing down here more than in the past, and I don't know. I think it could. I think it could work. I think they have to be successful right away.
Yeah,
is the key. Also, I think the arena has to be upgraded. Like
100%.
It can't be the Smoothie King Center as its current state. Like I don't think that's going to work. Like that's barely suitable for the Pels.
Yeah, I think if they're coming, that's a good sign for the Pels, or maybe it's a bad sign. Maybe that means the Pels are gone. That's
the thing. Like the Saints are cemented. Like they're always going to be number one in New Orleans. I think. I don't think there's anything the Pels can do to overtake that.
No.
They'd have to go on like a Warriors type of run, I think, to even get close.
Yeah, and the Saints would have to be terrible or like kind of how they are for the next couple of years, and then it'd be like, you know what?
If the Pels were to stay, like they're talking within like the next 5 years is when the NHL wants to do another expansion. If the Pels were to stay like as they are right now, and then a NHL expansion team comes in 4 or 5 years and is good and makes the playoffs like 3 years, their first 3 years, I don't think it's crazy to think that they could surpass the Pels, because hockey is one of those sports where if you like dive into it and just really expose yourself to it, you'll get hooked because it's a blast.
It's just it's tough to know what it can do, because obviously for purposes like Louisiana's not a big hockey state.
Yeah.
So it's really like kids don't grow up playing hockey down here like they do up north. And so it's hard to really tell like how many people you would have into it.
But I feel like a young, like this, like our generation and below are like more open to new sports now. Like soccer's getting bigger, but like I feel like they just want to embrace new sports.
It's having a moment.
So I think it could work. I don't like the idea of comparing it to the brass. I don't think you can compare it to.
Well, it's a professional. Well, they're both professionals, but it's the highest level.
It's
and
also,
there's a major difference.
But it's also a completely different generation.
Yeah.
Like there's still like I was a kid when the brass were here, like young, and now I've grown up with it. The people that were adults then are like. You
know what's funny though? You mentioned that everybody I've talked to about the brass that's like our age loved the brass.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But we're the people that would be like the key like fan base for a new team. Like, have you seen any? Like you're saying you don't think it could work, But that doesn't necessarily mean you wouldn't be excited for it.
I just worry that it wouldn't work. I think there's so much unknown. And like I said, there's the dynamics and the economics around the city of New Orleans are just not looking great. So like, why? Like what owner in their right mind is like, you know where I'm going to move a team? This city that's definitely regressing and can't support 2 other teams.
Yeah.
I just can't pay the payments of the.
They can. That's a whole nother. They can definitely do that.
Yeah. I just like I haven't seen a single. There was like no pushback on it. Like I didn't see anybody be like, "We don't want that."
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Yeah, do it."
Yeah, of course.
The only other thing I've seen was, "Would you prefer that or baseball?" Which is tough for me. Like I love baseball, but I think I'd prefer a hockey team.
I don't know if I'd prefer hockey, but I think hockey makes more sense. Which is crazy, right? Because it's New Orleans. Why would you put hockey in New Orleans? But to me, it just makes more sense. Like it's a smaller venue, easier to support, like less games.
I think it's easier to get people into hockey than baseball. Even with like the new version of baseball that's faster and more entertaining, it's still hard to get people.
A bananas team? Oh, like a Savannah Bananas team?
We can have a glow in the dark league. Have you seen this?
I haven't.
Oh,
those are cool.
Talk about nothing seems more impractical than glow in the dark baseball. These like they literally cut the lights off and they're all in like fluorescent glow in the dark jerseys. The ball glows in the dark.
Nice.
And you say nice, but like it looks and sounds terrifying.
It is a little scary.
They literally have to put a net up in front of the pitcher, like the practice net or whatever, the pitching net. Because he can't see the ball.
See like, a flying green light.
Yeah. The only like highlight I've seen is the center fielder misreading the ball and not catching it. It just seems like a disaster. But somehow the score was 0-0 at the time, and it's like the end of the game. So I don't know what is happening here, but it is a thing that's starting to happen.
But just to go back to kind of what you're saying too, though, it's like I feel like no one's really saying no because I feel like there is kind of a push for people to get, especially in New Orleans, to get another professional team. They're just, it's been Saints and Hornets, now Pels for so long that it's just like what we've had the Voodoo come in there, we've had the Zephyrs and then the Baby Cakes, and then it's almost like an itch to maybe have something, but like you said, you just feel like 2 is kind of.
But this, like right now specifically, both teams are also kind of like down.
Yeah.
Like. The Saints are, well, I don't want to say down. They're both like literally like meh,
they could go
like
either
right
way.
in the middle.
Yeah,
so it's like the city just wants a team that can come in and win. And they're like, well, if we get a third team, maybe they will win. I feel like that's in the back of people's head a little bit too. Personally, I just like hockey and I just want to be able to go to more hockey, like professional hockey games. And I think New Orleans, if bought in, could be an awesome atmosphere.
It could be cool
for it.
Start talking about branding and all that. Like we were talking about that the other day. Yeah. If they embrace like the voodoo theme, that I think that would be really cool.
You're in somewhat the same boat as me. If it happened, what happens with your Penguins? You've been a Penguins fan for way longer than I've been a Knights fan.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely support them.
But so for me, they instantly become my number one hockey team.
Because like for me, being a Pittsburgh guy, we've never had a professional basketball team, so it's like either you're a Phillies fan, but I've always, like for me growing up, obviously Steeler and Pirates fan, I've been attached to the players more so than anything. So like I was a big Derrick Rose guy, so I was, I had an affiliation for the Bulls for a little while. Then I was a big Steve Nash guy, so then I had an affiliation for the Suns for a little bit. And then when I came down here right after Katrina, obviously just actually started to have a team that I could start supporting, and then was kind of Hornets and Pels. So I feel like for me, it's the same kind of situation. Like, yeah, I've always liked the Penguins, but if they were to have a hockey team out here or baseball, I feel like I would have to support them in a sense.
Yeah, I think it would be, for me, they'd be my number one team. But like, I'm not just going to stop being a Knights fan. But if they went head to head, it would always be the New Orleans.
Yeah, in a perfect world, they would end up in opposite divisions. Yeah. That way you can root for them to go against each other.
I mean, the city is technically east. If you cut the state down the
not according to the
country
NBA.
Down the middle. Yeah, no, that's actually exactly why I said that. It never made any sense to me.